Thank you, folks up with our eyes in the sky. You know, one of the biggest surprises for political pundits during September's federal election was what polled as the #1 issue. It wasn't childcare, taxes, or even COVID. It was affordable housing. And here to take the market temperature exactly 2 months after the election and on National Housing Day is TRREB President, that's the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board President, Kevin Crigger. Kevin, good morning and thanks for being here.
Good morning and thank you for the invitation.
Kevin, let's start here. We have the results in from the October market report. What's the sum and substance? What are you seeing?
So this was our second most active October on record. We saw a substantial increase in price. The concerning part is we saw a substantial reduction in inventory. Inventory was down by 1/3, whereas sales were down only marginally. So once again, in a very tight market, this will continue to put upward pressure on pricing.
And Kevin, how did that compare with September's report?
So we basically saw a comparable move in the overall number of units, but we saw, again, a very sizable reduction in the number of new listings coming to market.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Once again, new listings are not coming to market at the same pace as buyer activity is increasing.
All right, let's continue on and talk about challenges now. Look, Parliament resumes on Capitol Hill today. You've got a minority government with Trudeau. They made a lot of pledges and promises when it came to affordable housing. And, you know, we have 3 levels of government that obviously have to do a good job communicating. The lower 2 levels, at least provincial here in Ontario, we've got an election coming up in June, municipally shortly after that. So, you know, can they work together, do you think, to expedite good movement for the market?
I think most definitely they can. The federal government was very clear in their commitment to housing in this past election. The key to their success will really be their coordination with provincial and more so with local government. At the local level is where obviously building permits are issued and, you know, truly supply can come to market. So I think the federal government's success will be tied directly to how well they work with local and municipal governments.
Something else that you touched on in your notes to us, middle housing, that's in short supply as well. I mean, you know, I often talk about the fact that the middle class in this country is kind of evaporating. We focus so much on the wealth gap and those at the extreme ends of it that those in the middle, and I guess that includes middle housing, kind of get lost.
Most definitely. And the interesting part looking at sort of density opportunities and where housing can come to market fairly quickly. The approval process for a 50-unit condo building, in some ways, or at least the timeline for bringing approvals to market, is sometimes the same as that of a fourplex. So it's an incredible, obviously, imbalance in sort of cost benefit. And the reality is we need very diverse housing types, and there needs to be some gap bridged between single-family homes and condominiums. There's obviously a wide market of opportunity there for gentle intensification in certain neighborhoods with product like townhomes or multi-unit residential properties. And the reality is the time to bring them to market is so substantial that in many ways they're not financially feasible.
Well, we had some movement from City Council voting for a level of inclusionary zoning when it comes to condos, right? Having a percentage set aside in terms of square footage that's prorated for lower income investors. I guess that's good news.
It certainly is. Affordable housing is obviously a key consideration in our market. Now, there are obviously various ways for government to look to bring different housing types to market and bring different types of inventory. But again, a lot of the focus has been on sort of real estate as a revenue tool.
Right.
And real estate has been looked at as an opportunity to sort of solve a number of socioeconomic problems throughout the city. In this case now with developers, a certain element of construction will have to be allocated to affordable housing. And if you look at the cost of a new unit of construction coming to market, the cost is well over 6 figures in sort of levies,
right,
government and various charges. So one of the challenges in creating affordability, or one of the ways affordability can instantly be bolstered, is if the government looked at other avenues for revenue as opposed to exclusively real estate.
Kevin Crigger, the president of the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. How do people get in touch with you for more details, to take a deeper dive in that report and everything else that you provide?
TRREB.ca is an amazing resource and has a number of market reports available for your review.
Kevin Crigger, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the snow, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks so much.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, our